G'day legends, I hope you're all awesome. Today I've got a follow-up to the video that I did about the Elk Live Bridge and the associated subscription service. Now basically, if you haven't seen that video, this little box is a simple audio interface with a pretty neat trick. There's a hardwire Ethernet connection on here, and if you and a friend each have one of these and you have an Elk Live subscription, you can call each other over the internet and you can get pretty fantastic low latency online jamming. I did a video about this, I think near the end of last year, where I talked about how we were using the bridge together with the Elk Live online service to basically jam and rehearse remotely. Living in Perth is not the world's biggest city, but it's geographically quite large, and I live 45 to 60 minutes away from our drummer, and it's just an easy way to say, hey, are you free? I'm free. Let's jump online and do some jamming. So the thing that attracted me to this was the low latency performance and being able to jam in real time. One thing, and kind of one unanticipated aspect of it, was that it made writing and collaborating really, really easy, because the amount of latency that you get on this is so much lower than, say, a typical Zoom call. It makes it really easy to log in and just kind of bounce ideas off one another. Furthermore, I talked about how it would be a pretty cool idea to have something like this if you're teaching online, which I also do a lot. But two problems with that. It would mean that everybody needs a subscription and everybody needs a piece of hardware. So Elk have come out with a native app. It's currently just available for Mac, but it's a native app that lets you use your existing audio interface. You don't have to go and buy a bridge. You don't need any extra hardware. You can use it. And the thing that's going to appeal to everybody watching this is it is currently free to use. They are going to move to a freemium style model in the future, but it's out there. You can just go and sign up. You can download it if you're on a Mac, and you can immediately start collaborating online. Now, it needs to be mentioned that something like this, even with the bridge, is limited by the laws of physics. So you're not going to get real-time jamming if you're here in Perth, Australia, and you call the United States. Simply, signals can't move that fast. However, you can get really comparable results between the bridge and most consumer interfaces. I've been doing a lot of jamming and writing with our drummer Cam, where I've been using my Apollo, which is great because I don't have to unplug a bunch of stuff and plug it into the bridge. And Cam has just been using the stock standard bridge. So we're going bridge to Apollo, and we've been getting really, really good results. And we're able to play in real time there, just like with the bridge. So it doesn't feel like a compromise between the Apollo and the bridge, which I really like, because again, anything that requires less effort and less work is a good thing. Like I said though, one unintended consequence that we found using the bridges is they're pretty good for writing. Like if you don't need to be playing in a super phase locked manner and practicing playing tight like you would at a rehearsal in a rehearsal room, if you just want to bounce ideas around and sort of say, I like the drum beat that you're playing, why don't you try this idea? Or why don't I try this idea on guitar? Having a free program to do that with much lower latency than a Zoom call is pretty fantastic. And furthermore, in the Elk app, kind of like I demonstrated last time, they've updated a bunch of stuff. You can go in there and basically set up a mix for yourself and a mix for everybody else. So everybody can mix their own sound and have their own experience in the app. It's almost like the way you would do in-ears for a live band. Everybody would have their own sends, and you can just dial in exactly what you like on each end and really make yourself happy. So they haven't lost any functionality in the app. In fact, if anything, they've kind of added things in there. There's the ability, like I said, to go interface to interface, bridge to bridge if you've got it, or bridge to interface. Furthermore, I mentioned teaching. And this is something that I found has been pretty effective as a teaching tool. I've been using Zoom for a few years and just using, the free Zoom meeting that times you out after 40 minutes. So you just send your students another Zoom link. But one nice thing about using Elk Live, again, is the ability to kind of mix and match audio levels, just kind of get everything where you like it. And if it's something where I want to say, hey, let's jam over a backing track, for example, I can sit there and have the backing track on. I can play over it and demonstrate some licks, and then my student can just have the same stream from me and play over it, and I can hear them in real time, which is pretty great, having that experience which is closer to being in a room together. I'd say probably 80–90% of my students now are online. Even if I teach them here in Perth, it saves busy people a bunch of time from driving around, and it makes my life easier, which is ultimately what I want from a piece of technology, let alone a free piece of technology. So what I like about this, obviously, is that Elk have listened to the people who checked out the bridge and checked out my video. Taylor Danley did a really good video talking about some of the strong positives about something like Elk Live and some of the drawbacks of using the hardware bridge, which I would recommend going and checking out. Just Taylor's channel is fantastic in general, but that video is particularly good, and there's some really good points on there. So it's pretty exciting that these tools are available for a lot of musicians out there. I really hope they add a Windows version as soon as possible. But for now, you can just follow the link in the video description and you can go and check out Elk Live for yourself. You can jam with your mates. You can use it as an online collaboration tool and hopefully, do the thing which we all set out to do as musicians and actually go and make some music. Let me know if you've got any questions or any other comments and suggestions. That's the little follow-up on here. Go and watch the original video that I did if you want to go and check out how the low latency jamming works with the bridge. You can now get access to that with your existing interface. I think it's pretty cool. Have a great day, and I'll see you all next time.